Pierce Transit is a nationally recognized leader in the public transportation industry. We provide safe, reliable, and innovative transportation services that are locally based and regionally connected. Serving Washington's second largest county, the Pierce Transit service area covers 292 square miles within Pierce County. We offer 3 types of service: bus, paratransit, and van pool. These important services keep our riders moving across Pierce County. Pierce Transit is governed by a 9-member Board of Commissioners made up of elected officials representing Pierce County, Tacoma, and 12 other cities in the county. If you look on a map, you will notice that not every city in Pierce County is part of Pierce Transit's existing service area. Pierce Transit currently provides bus service to approximately 70% of the population in Pierce County. Today's service area boundaries have been in place since 2012, when representatives from local jurisdictions determined which areas would be included. There are 2 options for changing the Pierce Transit boundaries: annexation and a Public Transportation Improvement Conference, or PTIC. As an agency, Pierce Transit does not define its own boundaries. Any boundary change must come from either voters or elected officials who serve on a PTIC. Areas that border existing Pierce Transit boundaries can be annexed into the service area following a vote of the people to both be annexed and taxed for being within Pierce Transit's boundaries. The process for annexation follows election dates set by the Washington State Secretary of State. Annexation may only result in locations being added to the Pierce Transit service area. There are 3 ways annexation can begin. First, by a resolution of the Pierce Transit Board of Commissioners after finding the annexation to be in the best interest of both Pierce Transit and the area under consideration. Second, by a resolution of the Pierce Transit Board of Commissioners at the request of a city seeking annexation. Or third, by a petition of at least 4% of the voters in a proposed area. The purpose of a Public Transportation Improvement Conference, or PTIC, is for elected officials to consider changing the current Pierce Transit boundaries. Areas can be added or removed from Pierce Transit's service area through a PTIC. Representatives invited to a PTIC include the Pierce County Council and each city in the county. There are 3 ways that a PTIC can be convened. First, the County Council can request a PTIC at any time. Second, by resolution of 2 or more cities in the county. Or third, by a petition of at least 10% of the registered voters within the existing service boundaries. The process for changing the Pierce Transit boundaries through a PTIC takes a minimum of 120 days. This includes a series of meetings and public hearings to determine a proposed boundary map. Once and if a final boundary map is adopted during a PTIC, it is then submitted to the County Council for final approval. After a PTIC is complete, voters inside any newly added service areas will be asked to approve a transit sales tax. Understanding the options for changing the Pierce Transit service area is really a lot easier than it might sound. Here are a few important things to remember. Pierce Transit cannot define its own boundaries. Any service area boundary change must come from either voters or elected officials serving on a PTIC. Voters can add additional locations to the Pierce Transit service area through annexation or request that boundary changes be considered by petitioning for a PTIC to be convened. Elected officials serving on a PTIC can add or remove locations from the Pierce Transit service area. Voters in any newly added service areas will be asked to approve a transit sales tax. For more information on Pierce Transit, please visit piercetransit.org.